Hello, hello. Starting up the old stream here. Trying to get everything I need ready. Okay. Okay. I think we're live now. Sweet. Sweet. Yep. Good there. All right. So this funny thing happened where the course I was taking got, I don't want to say reset, but updated. Got completely updated to work with 5.6 specifically, which I think previously was on 5.2 was what the course was showcasing. But within the last week, it was updated to entirely replace all the videos here with content for 5.6. So it's nice that it is updated, but it did unfortunately reset all my progress in the course. And I tried to maybe find a spot that would just kind of one-to-one line up with where I was at, but it's just kind of organized a bit differently. And I think it, as annoying as it'll be, I think I'm just going to go back through and actually go through each video, even though it's going to cover stuff that I've already covered in the previous one. But it'll be a good refresher and a good way to try to cement that knowledge in my brain, even if it does feel a bit repetitive. I would rather do that than just try to piece together where I'm at in the course. So, without further ado, let's already gone. I just went through the installing Unreal Engine one because I do have that installed. So, just gonna start the next video here.
Once you've installed Unreal Engine, this button should appear in yellow.
Oh, that is loud, isn't it?
You should be able to browse and select all of the different versions of Unreal Engine that you have. Select the latest version, then just click Launch to launch Unreal Engine. Once you open Unreal Engine, the first thing you'll see is the Unreal Project Browser.
That feels a little better.
This will list the most recent Unreal Engine projects that you've been working on. And if you just select one of them, then click Open, that will enable you to open that Unreal Engine project.
Okay.
If, say, you downloaded an Unreal Engine project from the internet, it won't appear in your Unreal Engine project browser because you've never opened it with Unreal Engine. In order to see it, you'd first need to go over to Browse, then browse to where your Unreal Engine project is. Then you'll be able to open it from the Unreal project browser. You'll notice in the bottom left corner, we have this Always Load Last Project on Startup. Let's say you're focusing and working on one main Unreal Engine project. You're not going to need to work on loads of different projects. You can click this, and when you launch Unreal Engine, instead of taking you to the Unreal project browser, it will just automatically load the last project you are working on. If you do want to disable the setting once you've enabled it, we can change this in the editor preferences. We'll cover how to do that at the end of this video once we've created an Unreal Engine project. So, Unreal Engine can be used in a wide variety of different industries. We're mainly going to be using Unreal Engine to create games, so if we just click this game section, it will show us all of the different starting templates we can have when creating a game in Unreal Engine. The first one is blank, and it's just a completely blank project with nothing inside it. We'll have to code everything from scratch. There are also some templates for some common game types. So let's say you're making a first-person shooter game or a third-person shooter game. We can select one of these templates, and this will come with some logic already installed when we create our Unreal Engine project. Let's say I wanted to create a vehicle game, then I can select the vehicle template, and when I create this project, it will start me off with a vehicle and some other things that will be helpful when making a vehicle game. Under each,
I do have a fun idea for a vehicle game, but it's something that I want to cement more of the basic foundational knowledge of the engine before I actually try and create something, or especially if I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just going to be stumbling over old stuff and new stuff while relearning or learning new things and then going back and like fixing mistakes. So I'd rather just get all the foundations out of the way.
Project, we have some project defaults. We can choose whether we want to start our project with Blueprint or C++. Blueprint is Unreal Engine's visual scripting system, which is what we're going to use throughout this course series. We can also decide to use C++, but we're going to use Blueprint. We can also decide what target platform we want to create our project for. So is it going to be for desktop or a mobile game? We can also choose the quality preset. Normally you choose maximum if you are using desktop and scalable if you are working on a mobile game. And then recently in the latest version of Unreal Engine 5.6, there's this variant. Variants allow us to enhance the templates. So right now, if I were to just create this project, it would be a vehicle template. But if I go over to variant, I could select off-road, and then this will basically create me a vehicle template for an off-road game. Okay, to get started, let's just go to the first person and select blueprint, desktop, quality preset maximum, and we'll have no variants. Then choose where you want your Unreal Engine project to be saved.
Okay.
And then just give your project an appropriate name. Then once you've done that, just click create.
So we're doing first person now. And here's the old project, which made a lot of random little tinkering changes with while we were going through the lessons. But I think a new perspective, literally, will be kind of fun. So obviously I can't name that beginner project. So I'll just call it FPS beginner project. It's probably fine. Oh, there is no cursor. Oh, silly. Duh, because it's the name of that project. I'm not making a new one. Okay. We'll do like, what's the course called? Doesn't say the name of the course here. What's the timestamp in the video in case I have to? All right. Unreal Engine for beginners. I'll just stick with beginner project. That's probably fine.
I could select off-road, and then this will basically create me a vehicle template for an off-road game. Okay, to get started, let's just go to the first person and select blueprint, desktop, quality preset maximum, and we'll have no variants. Then choose where you want your Unreal Engine project to be saved, and then just give your project an appropriate name. Then once you've done that, just click create to create your Unreal Engine project. Once your Unreal Engine project loads, it should look something like this. If you just click the play button, that'll allow you to play your Unreal Engine project. We do first need to just click the left mouse button to gain control. Then you should be able to move around the camera and use the WASD buttons to move around. We can also just press the FLF button on our keyboard to expand our project so that it goes into full screen mode.
Okay, I didn't know that about the.
And then we can also press
F11 button.
F11 again to stop that. And then if you press the escape button on your keyboard, that will stop the project from running. Okay, so with that, we have installed Unreal Engine and created our first project. And before I end this video, if you remember earlier, I told you when you launch the Unreal Engine project browser, we can check a box, which will basically make it so whenever we launch Unreal Engine, it will open our most recent project.
Oh, yeah, it's back.
If we want to disable it, if you've checked that box, we just need to go over to File, Open Project, and then just uncheck this if you have it checked. Okay, that's all for this video.
Cool. Let's run around a little bit. Said F11. Oh, it's just the full screen of the editor though, or the editor window. It doesn't like actually full screen. Ooh, that feels weird. What are those lines? What are those lines down there? Is that on? Yeah, that's on the stream too. Wonder if it does that. Oh no, yeah, they're there. The heck are those? Don't like that. It's weird. Okay. Okay, cool. Oh, it did not play. Okay.
Hello, in this video, we're going to go over the level editor. This is the interface used for the design and construction of game levels and environments in Unreal Engine. There are 6 main tabs in the level editor that we need to know about. The first one is the viewport. This allows us to visually see how our level will look like. Next, we have the toolbar along the top here. This provides us access to commonly used tools and operations. So, for example, if I click the save button, this will basically save my Unreal Engine project. I can click this play button, this will basically play my Unreal Engine project. I can click this quickly add things to the project button and quickly add things like lights or objects to my Unreal Engine level.
Oh, this is better.
Next, we have the content drawer. This basically stores and organizes all of the different assets that we have inside of our Unreal Engine project. Next, we have the bottom toolbar, which basically provides us access to editor settings, logs, and source control operations. So, for example, here in the output log, this will basically let me know if my Unreal Engine project has any errors. With this command line here, I can basically type in specific console commands that I want Unreal Engine to run. We then have the outliner tab. This will basically show us a list of everything inside of our level. So you can see I've got some directional light, I've got some cubes in my level, and so on. And then finally, we have the details panel, which will basically show us specific details about objects in our level. So I've just selected this cylinder, and it'll basically tell me all the information about where this is positioned in my level. I can see the mesh it's made up of, the materials it's made up of, and all the different details and settings I can configure for this specific object. We can also move around and reposition the panels inside of our editor. So for example, with this outliner tab, I can move it so it's towards the left of my screen, and I can also resize it so I can make it smaller or much bigger. We can also dock them. So if I just right click here and I click dock to sidebar, this will hide my details panel until I just click here and then I can see it. We can do this like reorganize and just
you can make drawers out of any of them
you want to. To undo this, I can just right click on this and go undock from sidebar. We can also just hide the top of this if we want more space and you already know what it does. So if I just right click here and I go hide tab, that'll basically hide the details tab. Clicking on this blue little icon here will basically reshow it. And if we want to, we can also completely close tabs. So I can either click this button to close the tab, or I can just right click here and go close, and that will close the tab. And then to re-add one of the tabs, we can just go to window. And if I want to re-add my details tab, I can just go here and click details 1. That will re-add my details tab. If I want to re-add the outliner tab, I can just go to window, outliner, and just select it. We can also save
the same with most programs, I'd say.
Design the layout inside of our Unreal Engine projects. So right now I've moved my outliner tab here. If say I want to save the loadout, so for example, let's say I create another Unreal Engine project and I want it to have this particular loadout. What we can do is we just save our Unreal Engine project, then close it, reopen it again. You'll notice it will save our Unreal Engine layout. And if say I want to save this for other projects, I can just go to Window, Save Layout, go Save Layout As, just give this a name. So I'm just going to call this example.
Okay.
And I'll save it. And then let's say I change this so it's back to the default.
I think I'm fine with the default though.
Layout. To do that, if I just go over to Window, I can go Load Layout, and I can select the default editor layout. This will change it back to the original default layout. But let's say I want to change it.
And it's got a horse wallpaper.
I can just go over to Window, then go over to Load Layout, and then if I just hover over this, at the end of this, I can see it says example.ini, because that's what I saved my layout as. I saved it to example. If I just select it, then it'll load the custom layout that I set up earlier. I'm just going to change mine back to the default editor layout though. And if you ever want to remove the layout, you can just go to Window, Remove Layout, and then you can just click here to remove the layouts. So you now know about the 6 main panels you'll be working with in Unreal Engine. In the upcoming videos, we're going to explore them in more detail.
Perfect. All basic stuff. It's probably good to have the speed up high while I'm going through the stuff that was essentially already covered in the non-updated version before it just wiped everything.
Hello, in this video, we're going to go over the selection mode. In the Unreal Engine level editor, there are 8 different modes that Unreal Engine can be in. The most common mode you'll probably be working with is the selection mode. This basically allows us to add actors and objects to our level and then manipulate and move them. There are 2 main ways which we can add actors to our level. The first one is if we just go here where it says quickly add things to the project, and here we can quickly add a bunch of different actors to our level. So for example, I can go over to shapes, select this cube, and this will add a cube to my level. I can also just go here, go over to shapes, and then drag and drop it, and then I can position where I want to place this cube. To easily remove an actor, we can just select it, then press the delete button, and that will remove it. We can also add actors directly from our content drawer. So if we go over to the content drawer, this will show us a list of all of the different assets that we have inside of our current Unreal Engine project. I can just go over to my level prototyping folder, and let me just go over to the meshes, and I can simply just drag and drop any mesh from here into my level. With the content drawer, we can also import assets from other software directly into Unreal Engine, and then we can place these into our level. We'll cover importing assets in a different video. To help with placing actors in Unreal Engine, we can also just go here where it says quickly add things to the project.
Is it blueprints? Prototyping. I see. Okay. Okay. I don't know why I could have sworn that it like previewed the material on the object before when I dragged like this. I guess not. Okay.
And go over to the Place Actors panel. This will bring up a panel which will allow us to add a bunch of different commonly used assets to our project.
That was in window, I think he said.
It has a bunch of different tabs. The first one is this recent tab. This allows us to quickly add things to our level, which we already recently added to our level.
Okay.
So earlier I selected this cube, so it's in this recent tab. We have this basic tab, which will basically allow us to add a bunch of commonly used assets. So normally in Unreal Engine, when working with a level, you'll add things like a player start and a point light. So it's in the basic category. We have the lights tab, which basically allows us to add a bunch of different lighting effects to our level. We have the cinematic tab. In Unreal Engine, we can create cinematics. When working with cinematics, you commonly use some of these tools, so we can quickly add these assets directly to our level. We have the shapes panel, which basically allows us to add a bunch of different commonly used shapes to our level. I'm going to...
Oh, did I not change the the notification? Oh no. The go live notification is still the same text. I thought I had left it on the Subnautica one by accident. So we are good.
Skip this tab because we're not going to use this at all. This is used for like virtual production in Unreal Engine. We also have this media plate, which basically allows us to add an asset, which we can basically play videos and media. We have this VFX tab, which basically allows us to add a bunch of different visual effects to our level. We have the geometry tab.
Wait, that got glossed over pretty quick, but that sounds pretty cool. Like you can make like screens or like TVs or other things. So then can you do that and like hook it up to another camera in the world? Kind of like Half-Life style or Half-Life 2 style. I think it was Half-Life 2. That was like really groundbreaking when that came out with the Source engine. Interesting. What does that even look like? Oh, it's just a little, just a little screen. Look at that. That's pretty cool, actually. So I wonder, is there like, control, enable audio, plane, make it a sphere? What? And how do you connect the material itself? Or not the material, the media? It said it's used to play media. But I'm wondering if that open media playlist. Huh. Okay. No playlist source selected, so I've probably got to add like a playlist source for whichever media that's going to play on it. That's really neat. Kind of opens up the door for like in-world like diegetic elements. That's neat.
This is commonly used if, say, you were like blocking out a level. We can add a stairs, and so on. We normally use this if, say, you like prototyping and designing a level. We have the volumes tab, which basically allows us to add a bunch of different volumes to our level. So, for example, we could add this blocking volume. With volumes in Unreal Engine, we can't see them when we play them inside our game. But if, say, I added a blocking volume, when I placed it,
What's the difference between a shape and geometry? I guess you don't have things like, yeah, okay, so yeah, it's for blocking out because there's stairs here, and I mean, I guess that's really the only difference. Is it just the stairs? It is bigger. Oh, it says a box brush. Is that different than? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like a whole separate type of item or actor. Actor, right? Yeah, I think everything in here is called an actor. Okay. Surface brush. It says brush. Like, what do you do with the brush? You know, like, do you paint? You paint with this? That's what I think of when I think of a brush, is painting something. So, like, does this paint in some way? Oh, do you select? Is it like modeling? You like selecting faces? I wonder if it's the same shortcut as Blender. Did E to extrude? No, I'm silly. No, the QWER changes the type of selection mode here. No, that just widens it. There's got to be a way to like model with this, I think, or mess around with it, or according to the name, like paint with it if it's a brush. But at some point, I'm sure that's going to be covered. I think I'm getting a little too ahead of the lesson here.
player character wouldn't be able to move inside that volume. Then we have the All tab. This shows us a list of all of the different assets that we have inside of our Unreal Engine project. We can search for specific assets if we want to access a specific one. And then we also have this favorites tab.
And oh, another person popped in. Just a heads up that I did have to essentially restart the course because the entire course got updated. So it reset all my progress, and it wasn't really easy to find a good spot to just insert in while trying to like work around an entirely different project. So just as a good way to cement everything in my head as well, I'm just going to go through all the lessons again, since they're all new lessons. This got updated just a couple days ago. And the old course is not even there anymore. It's like it's the same, it's technically the same course, like the same URL for the course, but it's just all new videos and all the old ones got replaced. So that's where we're at here. But this one's first person, so that might be more fun to work with.
Let's say I like working with this cube. I can just right click on it and go add to favorites. Then if I just go to my favorites tab, I'm going to be able to see a list of all of the different actors that I favorited. And then to remove something from the favorite tab, I can just right click on it and go remove from favorites.
Okay.
So that's how the selection mode works.
And is that for just any category of object, or is it going to like recategorize them in the favorites tab if I do that? Hit add to favorites on the box, then go to shapes and hit add to favorites on the cube. Let's do cylinder. That's going to be too confusing having two boxes. So, okay. No, it is all the same. What if I add a bunch of different ones? Hang on. Maybe I need more than just two for it to start categorizing. And then there we go. Go cone, throw in some other stuff. No, it's they're just all there together. Can I reorganize? No. That would be nice to have the option to like you're in the favorites tab, but it still like categorizes what they are. So like it would have all the shapes under one category and the geometry under another and so on. But this is fine. Just a little test there.
In Unreal Engine.
Okay. We still on? Oh, we're on 1x speed. Does it reset every video? I could have swore it changed it to 1.25.
Hello! In this video, we're going to go over the main ways that you can use to navigate around the viewport
Wow.
in Unreal Engine. The first way is by pressing the left mouse button. This will enable you to move forwards and backwards along the X and Y axis.
Okay.
We can also
Do you remember
rotate
that?
towards the left and rotate towards the right. Although we can't move up and down. In order to do that, if you press the right mouse button whilst holding the left mouse button, we can move up and down. If I just press the right mouse button, this will allow me to move the camera completely freely. Another way to navigate, and this is the most common way to navigate, is to just hold the right mouse button so we can move the camera in any direction. Then we can use the W, A, S, and D keys.
Yeah, I didn't know that holding left mouse and right mouse at the same time is how you did this, because middle mouse also does the same thing. If you only press middle mouse, you do the exact same thing. So that's how I thought I was supposed to be doing it. But I guess I can still just hold right click in like my little navigation mode and then left click. Cool. Good to know.
To kind of fly around and move around the viewport. Whilst holding the right mouse button to move around, we can also press the Q button to move down and the E button to move up. And we can also use the Z button to zoom out and the C button to zoom in. Although
okay.
If you hold the right mouse button and you're zoomed in or zoomed out, it will reset you back to the normal view.
Hey, it's going pretty good, Bacon Guy. How are you? Good to see you again. I'm not sure if you heard me a second ago, but I had to reset my progress here because this whole course got updated. So all the videos from it's technically the same course, but all the old videos I was watching got removed and that progress is reset now. And instead of just trying to like insert my way part of the way down to what would be the equivalent, it's a whole different like project now. It's an FPS project, or I guess just first person instead of third person. And I didn't want to like try to piece together stuff that he had said prior in this project that might not have been said prior to where I was at in the other project. So I'm just starting from the beginning here. It's a good way to like cement that knowledge again. But I hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for stopping by again.
We can also adjust how fast we move in the viewport. So if I just go here, right now we can see the camera speed is at 1.4. If say I move this up, then my camera is going to move.
Yeah, I do remember the camera speed.
If say I make this a lot slower, so something like 0.046, then my camera is going to be a lot slower.
I think I can use
hold the right mouse button,
scroll wheel,
or down with your mouse wheel to adjust the camera speed.
Cool.
We can also go here, and right now the speed scalar value is 1. If say I change this to 2, then it's basically just going to double my camera speed. If say I make this 0.5, then it's going to halve my camera speed. Also, another very helpful tip when navigating around in Unreal Engine, let's say I select this object, I can press the F button and it will automatically take me to where that object is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In a much larger level.
That's nice.
You get lost and you want to select a certain object. If I go to the Outliner tab, I can select.
Get new bits of info here and there that I was also just not in the last lesson. So it's good. It's good to go back through this. He might have said that, but apparently I forgot it.
The object I want to focus on, then press F, and it will basically automatically take me there. So that's just a super helpful shortcut when you're around the viewport.
Okay.
I found myself using it a lot of the time. Okay, so that's all for this.
That's really nice, actually.
Around the viewport in Unreal Engine. Hello. In this video, we're going to go over how you can translate, rotate, or scale different objects inside of the viewport in Unreal Engine. If you select an object in your level, you'll be on one of these different modes. To see the mode you're in, if I just go over to this panel...
No harm in repetition when learning. Yeah, I agree. It's a good way to review.
Right now, I'm on the Select and Translate objects. We can also press the Q, W, E, and R keys to switch between the different ways that we can manipulate an object. If you select this one, or Q, it'll just select the object. We can't manipulate it in any way.
Okay. If you remember that.
Press the W button, or we click here. This will allow us to translate and move the object.
And also learned this little dock to sidebar thing that he didn't mention on the last set of lessons, which is very helpful. I didn't know that was a thing. Basically, just like make a drawer at any of these panels. That'll be nice.
So I'll be able to move the object up, towards the left, and so on. If I press the E button, that'll allow me to rotate the object. And if I press the R button, that'll allow me to scale the object. If I just change this back to the translation mode, we can move the object in 3 different directions: the Z, Y, and X direction. As you can see, when I basically selected one of the arrows, it will only allow.
That's new in UE5. Such nice to have. Oh, the drawers here. Yeah, that is awesome. I like that. So I guess I could technically have multiple panels over here. I think it looks like it seems like there's room for more. Maybe dock others. But I mean, right now I'm satisfied with the current layout here. Hope work's been good, man. And also that I don't know if you ended up getting an RC car or if you were just looking into one or if you already had one. I can't quite remember, but I know that was something you were looking into as well.
Allow me to move it in that specific direction, no matter where I move the mouse. If you want to manipulate the object in 2 directions at once, we can click this little handle, and this will allow me to move the object in both the Z and the Y location. Instead, I wanted to just move this in the Z and the X location.
Oh no, you said you already had one. That's right, because you said you raced like the larger sized ones. Yeah, I hope that's going well. And also, because I know you said you also work with Unreal professionally. If that's something you're interested in talking about, I am curious, like what kind of projects you work on at work. If that's something more like for yourself, or like not really for yourself, but like a smaller like group, or if it's like a like a large group. If you're like kind of just like a cog in like a big type of wheel, or if it's like a smaller style studio where you're wearing a lot more hats. So if you'd like to share that, I am curious how that goes for you.
This part, and if say I wanted to manipulate this in all 3 directions at once, I can just click the circle, and then I can basically position this wherever I want. For the selection and rotation of objects, I can just go here, and here I can basically manipulate this in the X, Y, and Z directions. For scaling of objects, I can just go here, and I can just scale this in one direction, like the Z-axis, or the X-axis. And if say I wanted to just scale this uniformly, I just select this one in the middle, and I can just drag up with my mouse to scale it up, or drag down with my mouse to scale it down. When manipulating and moving an object, we can either move it in the world space or its local space. To show you what I mean, let's say I just go back to selection mode. Right now, I'm in world space, so I'm basically moving this cube relatively to where it's positioned in the world. So I can just move this up. If say I were to rotate this object, so it's like this, and then I just go back to my translate. If I just click this button.
Wait, headed? I think I missed that. It looked like he was rotating it like with the rotation axis was like facing the camera directly. Maybe it's just because of how. No, that looks pretty unevenly rotated. How did he do that?
Or the X-axis, and if say I wanted to just scale this uniformly, I just select this one in the middle, and I can just drag up with my mouse to scale it up, or drag down with my mouse to scale it down. When manipulating and moving an object, we can either move it in the world space or its local space. To show you what I mean, let's say I just go back to the selection mode. Right now, I'm in world space, so I'm basically moving this cube relatively to where it's positioned in the world. So I can just move this up. If say I were to rotate this object, so it's like this, and then I just...
Oh no, it was just based on...
If I just click this button...
that red axis here.
Now I'm going to move this block up in the Z direction, locally to where it's positioned.
I do contract work for other indie studios. While I'm starting up my own indie studio, I also sell the popular Unreal Engine plugin on Fab. Oh, that's pretty cool. Like you got a lot of different projects that you're going back and forth between, which can definitely be fun depending like on how you prefer to work. Some people prefer doing that. Yeah, starting up your own indie studio, that's got to be a lot of work. I'd imagine that's not going to be an easy feat. But if you're very experienced in Unreal, then I'm sure it's something that might come a little bit easier. Studio is currently working on an unannounced game. The other stuff helps with funding. Oh, right. Yeah, I would imagine that having different sources of income to help fund that is the way to go for sure. Oh, what? Excuse me. What plugin do you sell on Fab? I'm not sure if I'd be able to make use of it at my current current skill level, but I'd like to definitely take a look at it. Advanced vehicle system. Okay. Take a look. Or maybe if I search it on Fab itself, it might come up. True? No. Why is it in German? That was weird. Oh, it was the first link. Okay. Oh, right here. Overtorque Creations LLC. Cool. Bacon guy. Hey, there you are. Nice. Right. Take gander here. Dang. This looks like not a small plugin at all. This looks like a pretty fleshed out product right here. That's pretty cool. Dang, yeah, look at you. 181 ratings. It's a pretty popular plugin. That's awesome, man. Yeah, kick ass. Absolutely. Good for you. If that's something I am ever end up being skilled enough to take advantage of, I would certainly be interested in picking up something like this. Although right now I don't know how much I'd be able to actually make good use of it. But I wonder if I could save. I like logged in. I am not logged in. Okay. Let me bring this over here and log in. Do I even have my login saved here? I think I do. Yeah. Okay. Is that saved password still right? Yep, looks like it is. All right. Save. Nice. Yeah, good for you, man. That's awesome.
The same thing happens for its rotation. I'm now rotating it relatively. So to toggle between wild and local, we can just click here. When it's this circle, we'll be basically moving this relatively to where this is positioned in the world, and when this is this cube, we'll basically be moving this locally to where it's positioned in the world. When manipulating objects in Unreal Engine, we can also change the pivot point of where we're rotating the mesh. If I just go back to select and translate, right now we're basically rotating our object around this point. If say I wanted to move its pivot point, I could just select the middle mouse button, and let's say I just move it here. If I then go to rotate the object, you're going to see it's going to rotate around the new pivot point. If I just select any other object, its pivot point will go back to its normal position, but you can just adjust its pivot point in case you wanted to do that. Also,
middle mouse work on just one
object in Unreal Engine.
No, it does not. I gotta.
If say you wanted to duplicate an object, you could just press Control C and then Control V to copy and paste it. But a quicker way is if say you select the object and then press the Alt button on your keyboard, that will quickly allow you to create a duplicate of that object. We can also move multiple objects at once. So let's say I wanted to move this cube, and this one. If you just hold Shift on your keyboard, you can select both of these. All the objects you've selected will be highlighted, and then you'll basically get the transform actor. The actor where you basically manipulate it will be placed on the last one. But if say I move it, it will basically move all three of these actors. And if say you wanted to move the camera whilst you were moving an object.
Maybe I need to turn the speed down a little bit. Some of these things he's saying, I don't know if he said in the original video. I want to make sure I catch it all.
Also, when moving, rotating, and scaling objects in Unreal Engine, if say you wanted to duplicate an object, you could just press Control C and then Control V to copy and paste it. But a quicker way is if say you select an object and then press the Alt button on your keyboard, that will quickly allow you to create a duplicate of that object. We can also move multiple objects at once. So let's say I wanted to move this cube, and this one. If you just hold Shift on your keyboard, you can select both of these.
Okay.
All the objects you've selected will be highlighted.
Just, shift click.
Basically get the
pretty standard.
Actor.
I thought maybe he grouped it in some way and I missed it.
Will be placed on the last one. But if say I move it, it will basically move all three of these actors. And if say you wanted to move the camera whilst you were moving an object, because sometimes this can be helpful, just hold Shift on your keyboard, and then when you move the object, it will also move it with your camera.
What?
So if I was moving this up, it would also move my camera up.
Oh, that's cool.
This can be helpful when you're positioning certain actors and you don't want to have to constantly just adjust and move your camera. Okay, so that's how you can manipulate, move, rotate, and scale different objects in Unreal Engine.
Sweet.
Hello, in this video, we're going to go over snapping in Unreal Engine. Snapping
I
allows for the precise placement.
feel like each video of his is getting a little bit louder. Maybe that's just me. Is it too loud, or is the video too loud? Let me know, Bacon Guy, if it sounds like it should be turned down a little bit, or if it's okay. Maybe it might just be my headphones as well that it's very loud in. Let's see. Oh yeah, I have this little like mix knob on my headphones. I guess he's the only audio source, so I can just turn the volume down on the other side. It gets confusing sometimes. This is like the mix between how much of a game or chat that I want to hear, and then this one's like just the actual volume. I can just do the volume in my headset. There's not other sources.
Objects by aligning them to a grid, surface, or vertices. There are multiple different ways that we can snap objects in Unreal Engine. So let me just grab this object.
Okay, cool.
If, say, I wanted to snap this towards the closest surface
Appreciate it.
level, if I just select this and then I press the End button on my keyboard, that will do that for me. There are also different ways that we can snap objects. So if I just go here and I click on this magnet icon, if I just click this box, this will turn on surface snapping. And the way this will work is if, say, I'm manipulating an object, this will only work if you are.
Let's see where he selected that. Oh, okay.
And the way this will work
is a little magnet drop down.
An object, this will only work if you are manipulating the object by selecting the center here. This will automatically snap this towards the closest surface. We can also turn this on and off by clicking here. This will turn it off. When it's on, it will be highlighted in blue.
Just snaps the pivot point, though.
When I turn this on and then I move this, this will snap this towards the closest surface. And then this also.
That's cool, though.
So if I just go here,
that seems pretty useful.
Right now, rotate surface to normal is on. If I just leave this unchecked, and then let's say I rotate my object. When I then move this, we can see it doesn't automatically rotate my object, so it snaps along the surface. But if I have this turned on, so if I just click rotate to surface normal, when I manipulate this, we can see it'll basically rotate my object so that its normal is along the surface. We can also give this an offset. So if I go here, go over to surface, right now the surface offset is 0. But if say I change this to 30, and then I want to snap my object.
Yeah, Unreal's level building tools are really nice. It seems that way. That seems like a very convenient thing to have. I mean, you definitely are going to have situations where you want to place objects on other objects like that. And I haven't even gotten into any of the other stuff. Like I saw there was like box brushes that I assume are a way to like model out or block out like geometry easier. He hasn't got into it yet. He just kind of glossed over all of these. He was like, this panel has this panel has this, and this. But yeah, it seems like there are some really useful tools here for building out levels.
If I just zoom in, this will be offset by 30. So you can adjust that if you want to.
Oh.
If I increase it by 340, we can see it is now 340 units above the ground. We can also change the number here. So I'm just going to change this back to 0. And then leave this unchecked to turn off surface snapping. There's also vertex snapping, where we can basically snap to objects together by their vertices. So if I just select this, and I'm just going to press Alt to duplicate this. And if I just move this object and I hold it
right here
and I move it, this will basically allow me to snap these two objects together by their vertices.
I missed that. Vertex, I assume it's probably going to be there. I see. So if I turn off know what it's like if I turn that off then. Okay. Okay, so it's kind of similar to like surface snapping, but it's not going to rotate it and such for you or place it in a like a free-handed way. It's just really going to snap to whatever vertex grid already exists on that object. Okay, it's neat. Oh, then I got to turn that off.
So I can select this one, and if I press V, and then I move this down, that will basically allow me to snap together these two objects by their vertices. We also have grid snapping, which is turned on by default. So if I just go over here, right now the grid snapping is set to 10. That basically means every time I move this object, it's going to move by units of 10. If say I were to change this to 100, every time I move this object, it's going to move this in increments of 100. To turn this off, I can just leave this unchecked, and now I can just freely move this.
Okay, I do remember that.
To 10 though. We also have rotation snapping. So right now, every time I rotate an object, it's going to rotate by 10 degrees. If say I change this to 60 and I go to rotate my object, every time I rotate this object, it's going to rotate in increments of 60.
Right.
I'll just turn this back to 10, and to turn this off, I can just leave this unchecked, and then I can freely rotate this. And then we have scaling snapping. So if I change this to select and scale objects, right now, every time I scale an object, it's going to scale it in increments of 0.25. I can change this to be higher or lower. So that is how to snap objects in Unreal Engine.
Sweet.
Hello, in this video, we're going to go over levels. Levels contain everything a player can see and interact with, like environments, usable objects, and other characters, and so on.
That's fine.
To create a new level in Unreal Engine, if we just go over here where it says File, then go to New Level. This will show us the 4 different types of levels we can create. The first one is an open world level. This is normally one big level which has many smaller levels inside of it. So think of a game like Skyrim. It has one massive open world level, and then there are smaller levels within it. An empty open world is basically the same as the open world level, although it doesn't have a landscape and just starts completely empty. We then have the basic level. This is just a smaller, simple level, which comes with some basic things like a platform and some lighting effects. And then we have an empty level, which is just a completely empty level with nothing inside of it, and we have to customize everything. Let's say I created a basic level.
Yeah, this is another topic I didn't really go over.
I can then just go here where it says File, then go Save Current Level, and then it'll ask me where I want to save my level, and I can specify where I want to save and store this different level. We can also open different levels from within our content drawer. So if I just go to the first person folder, I can open up the first person level. Or I can just...
Didn't really check where that was being saved. Let's see here. Under first person. Okay. That's probably fine for now.
Just go File, Open Level, and then I can find the level I want to open.
Cool.
Hello, in this video, I'm going to show you many different ways that we can view a level in Unreal Engine. In Unreal Engine, there are certain view modes in which we can view our level. Right now, we're in the lit view mode, which will basically show us how our level will look with normal lighting. In order to change this, if I just go over here, I can toggle the view mode panel, where I can see all of the different ways that I can view my level. I'm only going to be covering lit, unlit, and wireframe. The other view modes are for more niche cases and beyond the scope of what we're doing right now. So we have the lit view mode, which will basically show us how our level will look with normal lighting. We then have the unlit view mode, which will basically show us how our level will look with no lighting at all. This can be helpful if you're working on a level with a dark area. Also, when you have your level in unlit mode, because Unreal Engine doesn't have to calculate lighting, you'll find that the Unreal Engine editor is probably running faster. We then have the wireframe view mode, which will basically display us the
Lit
edges and
wireframe.
vertices of
Okay.
objects. I'm just going to change this back to
It's like a wireframe
So right
overlay.
now we're viewing our level in a perspective view mode. We can also view our level from an orthographic view. So if I just go here and go to orthographic, I can view my level from top, and this will basically show me how my level will look from top down. When you change it to an orthographic view mode, it will basically automatically change your level to a wireframe.
Oh,
And when you're
that's
in
not
the
what I meant to do.
orthographic view, we navigate the viewport a bit differently. If you press the
Interesting.
right mouse
Like
button and
measurement,
drag,
I
this will
think.
basically allow you to reposition the camera of the viewport. If we press the left mouse button and hold, this will basically allow us to select objects in our level. So if I just press the left mouse button and hold, I can drag and then select objects. And then if I hold the left mouse button and the right mouse button, I can zoom in or out. And I can view my level from the top, bottom, left, right, front, and back. Let me just change this to perspective. We can also set bookmarks in our level. So let's say you're designing a level and you really like this view of the level. What we can do is just go over here, and then if I go over to bookmarks, I can go over to set bookmark, and then let's say I select bookmark 0. If say I move all the way over here, if I then press 0 on my keyboard, it'll basically take me back to that bookmark. We can also create a bookmark by using the shortcut Control and then any number key from 0 to 9. So if I press Control 6, that'll basically create me a bookmark. And now if I just press 6 on my keyboard, it will take me back to that specific view. We also have this game view. So this right here is my player start. This is going to be where in the level my player starts. If I just press the G button on my keyboard, it's going to show me a view of my level of how it would look when I'm inside the game. So I'm not going to see anything like any of the player starts or collision volumes. To toggle it, we can just go here and just uncheck it.
Oh,
or just press
high resolution
G from the
screenshot. Cool. Take
We can also
screenshots,
take
I assume, from the
high-resolution
viewport.
screenshots inside our level. So let's say you've designed a really
And
nice part of
he's
the
there we
level.
go.
If I go here, I can then just click high resolution screenshot and then go capture. And this will take you a nice high resolution screenshot of your level. I can also go over to this.
So is it, I wonder if it's just from the, here, let's undock. I wonder if it's going to be the same aspect ratio as the viewport, or if it's like a 16:9. Let's just capture. I thought it froze there for a second. I mean, it kind of did. Where did it save that? Might not even be in these folders here. I think it probably should. If I just search screenshot. No. Go back and see where he pulled it up. I thought he had his pulled up for a second.
G on your keyboard. We can also take high resolution screenshots inside our level. So let's say you've designed a really nice part of your level. If I go here, I can then just click high resolution screenshot and then go capture. And this will take you a nice high resolution screenshot of your level.
Okay, so he just opened wherever it was saved. It showed me it saved somewhere, but it was like really, really quick, the little pop-up that came up for it. Let's see here. Oh, I wonder if it's just in my screenshots folder. It is not in the default screenshots folder. Okay. Oh, yeah, the pop-up is quick. It saves to the project directory /save/screenshots. Okay, so yeah, it's probably not going to be accessible there. Let me find that. Oh, can I just? No, I can't show file location. Okay, let's find where that went. Oh, if I right-click content, I can? Oh, okay. Show and explore. There it is. Content. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, yeah. It is just the same aspect ratio as the viewport is currently. So I guess, yeah, you'd have to set whatever ratio you want it to be and then take a screenshot. That's nice. It's a nice little tool to have. Appreciate the help.
I can also go over to this eye icon here, and here I can basically hide certain things in my level. So if say I wanted to hide all of these static meshes in my level, so these are like meshes like this floor, if I just uncheck this, then it's not going to show me any of the static meshes in my level. If I did play my game, the static mesh would still be there. It's just temporarily hiding it in my viewport right now. So I can just go here if I want to hide specific things in my level. I'll just turn this back on. We can also change the quality of how everything at our level looks. If I just go over here and I click this little speed meter icon, I can
put that
preview
back
how
on the
my
side.
level will look on different platforms. I can go over to the viewport scalability. So right now everything is set to epic. If Unreal Engine was a bit laggy on my PC, I could change everything to maybe medium or high or even low. And this will basically change the quality of everything to the setting. I have the material quality level. This will basically allow me to change the quality of how all the materials in my level will look. I have the screen percentage. So the default value I think is set to 86, but I can override this. And the higher this is, the higher quality your level is going to look, but it may be a bit more performance heavy on Unreal Engine. And the lower this is, the worse the level is going to look, but then your Unreal Engine may run a bit faster. I'm just going to leave this unchecked though. And then I can also just click this button and I'll basically reset everything back to its default settings. There are also some more settings in here. So if I just go over here, right now my field of view is set to 90. I can change how this is inside of my level. I'll just
turned on fast mode.
We also have this near view plane and this far view plane. So these two things
Yeah, that's crazy.
define the boundaries of what the camera renders. Objects closer than the near plane or farther from the far plane are not visible. So let me just reduce my far plane to, let's say, this. If I zoom out, then eventually my level should disappear because I am above the far plane. And then when I get closer, I should see my level. I will just change this back to infinite.
That's right.
And then we have this piloting. So
okay,
when you're positioning things like lights or even cameras in your level, you can pilot them, as this makes it a bit easier to position and place them. So if I just go here where it says quickly add things to the project, I'm going to go over to light and select spotlight. I can then go over here and go over to pilot, and I can just pilot the spotlight, and this will basically give me the view from the spotlight, and maybe I want to position the light here. I can then just click this button to
that's pretty neat
and stop piloting the spotlight. And as you can see, when I was in pilot mode, I was basically able to position the spotlight. Piloting basically allows us to kind of position certain actors and see the level from their view. This can help with positioning certain actors. As a shortcut, we can also just select this and then go Control-Shift-P, and that will automatically allow you to pilot something if you can. We can also click this button here, and this will basically split up our viewport.
Dang.
It'll give us one perspective view, and then we get a top, front, and right view. And then I can also just click here to change back to just the normal perspective view. So those are different ways we can view our level. Hello, in this video, we're going to go over the content drawer. If I just go here, this will open up the content drawer, and this basically will show us a list of all of the different assets in our project. We can also press Ctrl and Spacebar to toggle this on or off. With the content drawer, I normally just like to click this button, Dock in Layout, and this will make it so it's permanently here on our screen. With the content drawer, we can also filter this so it only shows us certain assets. If I click this button here, and then let's say I select static mesh, it's only going to show me the static meshes I have in my project. I can add more filters, so if I select skeletal mesh,
Very
it will
useful.
show me all of the static meshes and the skeletal meshes. And let's say I want to remove the filters, I can just click reset filters, and that will remove all of the filters. There's also this collections tab. If I just click this button, I can add a local collection. There is this shared collection and this private collection, although it's grayed out. That's for if you're working on an Unreal Engine project and multiple people can access it at the same time. So I'm just going to create a local collection. I can just call this example. And let's say I just go over to my character folder. And I'm just going to drag these assets into the collection. Now if I select my example collection, I have a quick way to access all of these assets. And then to delete this, I can just right click and go delete and remove that collection.
Easy peasy. Knocking them out. I'm sure the last half of this is going to go much slower than the first half. This is all just basics.
Hello, in this video, we're going to go
pretty much the whole course is basics.
If I just go here, this will open up the content drawer, and this basically will show us a list of all of the different assets in our project. We can also press Ctrl and Spacebar to toggle this on or off. With the content drawer, I normally just like to click this button, Dock in Layout, and this will make it so it's permanently here on our screen. With the content drawer, we can also filter this so it only shows us certain assets. If I click this button here, and then let's say I select static mesh, it's only going to...
Just saw all that. Right? Crazy.
Hello, in this video, we're going to go over the settings in the content browser. So if I just click this button, this will show me all of the different settings that I have in my content browser.
Okay, now I'm kind of confused there. I think I replayed the same video, but I'm not sure if it kept track of it.
Meshes. And let's say I want to remove the filters, I can just click reset filters.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. Already saw that one.
Hello, in this video, we're going to go over the settings in the content browser. So if I just click this button, this will show me all of the different settings that I have in my content browser. So if I go over to, let's say, the first person folder, and I go over to list, this will change all of the assets inside of my content drawer to a list. Before they were in a grid, we can also change this to a column, but I normally just like to leave this at grid. We then have the source panel.
The list view is nice, though.
Hidden, then it's not going to show our source panel.
Love me a good list.
Favorites, so we can favorite certain folders or assets. Let's say I like my animations folder. I can just right click on this and go add to favorites, and then it will appear here. I'm just going to right click on this and remove it from my favorites. But if you wanted to not have a favorites panel, then you could just hide that. We have the folders. This will basically hide all folders and not show them, so I can't.
Feels interesting to have both a favorites panel and a collections panel. I don't want to say it's redundant, but I guess you could just make like a favorite collection. I think, if I'm understanding that right. I mean, sometimes redundancy isn't a bad thing. In a lot of cases, actually, it's a very necessary thing.
Can't see any of the folders inside here. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory, so this will basically not show me any empty folders. We have the all folder, so if I leave this unchecked, you can see it will basically remove the all folder and the content folder will be the main folder. We have C++ classes, this will basically hide or show any C++ classes. We have developer content, so the way this works is this will basically create a private collection of files related to the developer of this project. So this PC is called Banji, so there's this folder called Banji. If I hide it, then I won't be able to see it. So this will be local to your PC. We have the engine content. So if I just scroll to the bottom, there are a bunch of different Unreal Engine files. It's not recommended to basically play around or change these, but you can basically access and see these files. With this enabled, there's plugin content, so we can install external plugin from Fab, which is Unreal Engine's marketplace, or from the internet. If we want to see it, we can just have this checked. There's localized content. If so, you have like a specific localized text or variable, if you want to see it, we can just enable this. There's this search asset class names, search asset path, and search collection names. This basically allows you to search for collections directly inside of your content drawer. The search asset class names and the search asset paths. If, say, I just leave these unchecked in my content folder, if I just look for Blueprint, then it's only going to show me all of the actors in my project which have Blueprint. But if, say, I have the search asset class names, then it's going to show me any actor which is actually a Blueprint. And then if I have the search asset path, then it's going to show me every actor which has Blueprint in its path. So if it's in a folder called Blueprint or so on.
Oh, that's very useful.
We then have the thumbnail size. So right now, the thumbnail size is set to medium. I can make this large, and this will make the thumbnail everything in my project larger. We have the thumbnail edit mode.
So honestly, I'd like to make it smaller.
This Blueprint, and let's say I go over to my level prototyping and my meshes folder. If I have thumbnail edit mode,
or what tiny looks like.
If I select this mesh, I can then
use the small
left button to kind of edit.
I prefer that for sure.
This image. And we have real-time thumbnails. So if, say, I go over to my starter content.
What's going on here with the video UI? That's weird. Very interesting. Look at that. Rotate the thumbnail for a 3D view. That's nice. That's very nice.
And let me just leave thumbnail edit mode unchecked. Some materials, like this water one, when I hover over them, I get like a little animation. If you don't want that, you can just turn off real-time thumbnail. And then we have expand tooltip. When I hover on an asset, it will give me some information about it. If I don't want that, I can just uncheck it, and now it won't give me that information. I normally don't play around with this, but if you wanted to, that's how you can just adjust it.
Understood.
Hello, in this video, I'm going to go over some more settings of our content browser. Let's say I selected this asset, and I wanted to go to the folder where this asset was located. If I select it, and then I scroll down, I can click this browse button, and this will basically take me to where this asset is inside of my Unreal Engine content browser. Although let's say I was in a particular folder and I didn't really want to move folders, what I could do is I could just click this lock icon, And let me just change folders
Oh,
to this
I
one,
see.
for example. Now, if I were to click this Find Asset, it's going to
Oh,
open up a different content drawer. That way, I can basically...
I don't think I needed to be in that folder. Turn off engine content.
remain in the folder that I'm currently working on. So that can be very helpful because sometimes you want to just locate where an asset is and you don't want to move where you are in the content browser. We can also press Control P if, say, you didn't want to use the content browser. And this will basically allow us to browse all of the different assets in our project, and we can easily drag and drop any asset into our level. So that's Control P. Okay, that's all for this quick video.
Oh, then you just search it. Cool. It's actually pretty nice. Yeah.
Hello! In this video, we're going to go over the Details panel. So if I just select an object, here in the Details panel, I'll be able to change and customize all of the details about this object. If I click this lock icon, if, say, I select another object, because I click this lock icon, it's going to only still show me the details of the object that I just locked.
Sick.
If I just unlock this, I can then just reselect this, and then I'll see the details. We can split up the way we see the information about the parameters we can change in the Details panel. So if I just select Physics, then this is going to show me all the details that I can change about the physics.
How do you do that blocking?
Hello!
Just run
In this
that back
video,
real quick.
we're going to go over the Details panel. So if I just select an object, here in the Details panel, I'll be able to change and customize all of the details about this object. If I click this lock icon, if, say, I select
right
another
here.
object,
Okay.
because I click this lock icon, it's going to only still show me the details of the object that I just locked.
Okay.
If I just unlock this, I can then just reselect this, and then I'll see the details. We can split up the way we see the information about the parameters we can change in the Details panel. So if I just select Physics, then this is going to show me all the details that I can change about the physics of this object. I'll just change this back to all though. Then we have this settings menu. Here, this basically kind of allows us to kind of change the details we can see. So if, say, I just click this show only modified properties, this is only going to show me the details that I have modified. I'll just leave this unchecked, and we can just use some of these settings to kind of change the way we can see the options that we have in our Details panel. If we hover over them, it'll basically show us what each one will do. We can also change the location, rotation, and scale of objects in our Details panel. So if I just adjust this, I can move the location of this object in the X, Y, and Z, and we can move these relatively, and world. We can also scale objects. So if I just click this icon, then it's gonna maintain its scale. So if I just increase this, it's gonna scale uniformly. But if, say, I have this unchecked, then I'm gonna be able to scale this ununiformly. So you may want to have this checked or not, depending on what you're doing. If I recheck this, then it's gonna scale everything uniformly again. And if we want to, we can also favorite items. If there's, say, a setting I want to favorite, I can just right click on this and go add to favorites. Then if I scroll up, this will be my favorites category, and this will favorite this for all actors.
That's nice,
which are
actually.
the same type of this actor. So for all my static messages. So if, say, I select this, I'll be able to see the setting that I put into the favorites. I'll just untoggle this. And that, in a nutshell, is the Details panel.
Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of this information is stuff that he went over previously, but there's quite a few things he's pointing out that he did not mention in the original course, so that's nice. Sure. I have to type something. I mean, I could just do it later. I'll just do it later when I finish it. It's probably fair to finish the course before I actually rate it.
Hello! In this video, we're going to go over the Outliner tab. Here in the Outliner tab, we can see a list of all of the different actors in our level. We can just double click on an actor that will take us towards it, or like I mentioned earlier, you can just select an actor and press F, that will also take you towards it. If you want, you can apply filters to the Outliner tab, or just go to the search here if you want to look for a specific asset. So if I want to look for the chairs in my level, I can just look for a chair and it will show me that. We can also make objects have parents. So if say I select this couch and I drag it inside of the door, this door will be the parent of the couch. So if say I move the door, it's going to move the couch with it. But if say I just move the couch, then it's not going to move the door with it, because the couch is a child of the door. To end this relationship, I can just drag the couch back onto the SM door and that will end it. We can also just right click on an object.
Relationship with couch ended.
And then we can attach this to a specific actor. So if I attach this to the chair, the door is now a child of the chair. We can also group actors together. So if say I just select this couch, I'll make sure the door is no longer a child of the chair. If I hold shift,
was curious about that.
Select everything. And if I go Control G, this will basically group all these actors together.
Oh, cool.
And now I can just move them all together. If you hold Shift G, that will ungroup them. And now I can basically move everything individually.
Oh, that was F. I hit.
You can also select everything.
There we go.
And just right click and go Group. And this will also group the actor. Once you've grouped an actor, everything will be locked together. But let's say you wanted to just move the position of one of the objects in the group. What we can do is we can temporarily unlock the group. So if I just right click on the group and go unlock, I can then, let's say, select this chair, and then I can freely move this inside of the group. Then let me just select my group.
Unlock. Oh, maybe I have to do it from here. I missed where. Click that. And blind, apparently. So let me run that back. See where he clicked that to unlock it.
Click on the group and go unlock.
Oh, okay. Was group unlock. Oh, then just select one of them. Okay. Very useful. Don't really like that the group actor, what do I even call that? Line item? Yeah, the group actor line item is like separate from the group itself. If I just like, no, yeah, the floor is in between that. I guess it's alphabetical right now. Yeah, it's alphabetical. That's why. It'd be nice if they like went underneath it or like kind of nested in some way.
I can then, let's say, select this chair, and then I can freely move this inside of the group. Then let me just select my group again, right click, go group, and I can just go lock, and then it will relock my group. And also inside of the outliner, we can create folders. So if I just select my untitled editor, so this is the name of my level, I can just go create new folder. I can just call this example, and then I can move a bunch of different actors into this folder. So I can, for example, select my group and just move this inside of the folder if I wanted to be organized. We can also hide actors inside of the outliner tab. So if that's designing a level, but let's say this floor was in the way.
Folders are definitely going to be necessary. It seems like just look at all this. I need like a mesh folder, maybe like, and you could sort that to like environment mesh or just like up. Yeah, definitely going to need to make use of folders. Is there a different cube I have in here? Oh, it's over here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Just make a static mesh. That's what SM stands for. But all of that is environmental. So I don't know, do like a environment mesh folder or something like that. Maybe I'm blind. Oh, yeah, create new folder here. Okay. Like there has to be a way to like make a folder just from the right click.
What I can do is I can just click this eye icon and this will temporarily hide the floor. So I can't see it. And then if I want to see it again, I can just click this eye icon.
Sorry to forget about you, Floor. I'll put you back with your other buddies here. Floor is already assigned to root. I want to assign it to root. I just want to put it in. There we go. Environment folder. All right, now you don't have to be excluded. Good for you, Floor.
Okay, so that's all for this video.
I'm going to refresh this page too. The video player seems like it's kind of lagging out a little bit. Oh. What happened? Maybe I have to actually click on a lesson. Is it maybe it's just the size of the window? That's weird. It's like appearing for a second and then forgets what it's doing. Like it almost remembers that's where it's got to go. Then, oh, I forgot. All right. We're in the details panel section. Outliner. Okay, that's right. Yeah, that was odd. But back on track now on the actors section. Yep. Okay,
Hello.
cool.
So now that we've learned how to place, rotate, and scale different actors in a level, we're now going to learn about the different types of actors found within Unreal Engine. The first one we're going to go over is the static mesh, and we've already been using this. So if I just go over to my level prototyping folder and over to the meshes, I can just drag in this cube. This is an example of a static mesh. So all of these cylinders and blocks in our level. A static mesh is a mesh which can't deform. It has no moving parts at all. Whereas a skeletal mesh can
static
deform.
makes
So
sense.
An example of a skeletal mesh would be a character. So if I just go over to this character folder and I go over to the mannequins and I go over to the meshes folder and I open up this SKM skeletal mesh mannequin. Skeletal meshes normally come with bones which we can use to deform and move the mesh. So if I just go over here, I can select my character's spine.
Gotcha.
And I can just rotate it. So a skeletal mesh can deform, whereas static meshes can't deform at all. So
what's up,
like I
Manny?
showed you earlier, we can access static meshes if we just go to the Place Actors panel. And in the shapes, there are a bunch of example static meshes. We can also import static meshes directly into Unreal Engine and use them. That's what you'll more commonly do when you're making a game or something.
Oh. It's odd. Wonder why selecting it doesn't also bring up in whatever bone is attached to it. Why is the pelvis drop down so extensive? That's hilarious. Well, you got just like a couple, like, foot, center mass, hand, root, and then pelvis is whew. Manny's got a large pelvis, it seems. Yeah, I'm sorry, Manny. Wasn't aware of your game.
With static meshes, once you drag them into your level, let's say you wanted to drag in another static mesh, you actually don't need to delete this and then redrag in the other static mesh. We can just go over here and you can actually change the static mesh directly in the details panel. So let's say I wanted this to be the couch. I could easily just change the static mesh to be the couch. Although if I did do this, it would be a good idea to just rename this. Whilst we're here, we can also press Ctrl-Z to undo anything quickly. So I'm just going to press Ctrl-Z to undo what I did and remake this the cube.
This really is a basics tutorial teaching how to use Control-V, or sorry, Control-Z. I selected door, right? Yeah, door. Excuse me, sir, this does not look like any door I've seen. But I mean, I don't judge. And he's got a large pelvis. Not on my list of things I thought I'd hear today. It's not on my list of things I thought I would say today either, but here we are.
And I'm now going to go over some of the most common settings that you'll probably adjust when using static meshes. So by default, static meshes don't come with their physics turned on. So if I were to just play my game and I go to this cube, I can't move it at all. But with static meshes, what we can do is we can make them simulate physics. So if I just select this and I just go here to physics and I click simulate physics, if I now play my game, the cube will simulate physics and the player character can interact with it.
Oh, that's cool. You really just click a button and then boom, physics. I'd like to thank Isaac Newton for this moment here.
We can also adjust some of the settings within this. So if, say, I scroll down and I just click this mass, this basically shows me how much this object weighs in kilograms. If, say, I were to make this very high, like 10,000, if I then play my game, my player character is not really going to be able to move it because it's so heavy. So we can easily adjust the weight of any static mesh by just going here and enabling physics and turning on the mass.
Interesting.
I'm just going to change this back to 100. We also have linear damping. This basically controls.
So if I just set this to infinite, are we going to get a black hole situation here? I hope not, at least for Manny's sake. Yep, can't move. Oh, he kind of moved it a little bit, I think. No, actually, no. That was just it bouncing when it fell. I don't know what these lines are here. I don't know why they're there. There's like weird little inverting lines right down, and they're in the same spot, and they're in world space too. It's probably like anchored to my head in some way. They must have a purpose. I don't know what that would be for right now.
Controls how much the static mesh will basically move along the surface of the floors in our game. Right now it's set to 0.01, so it's not really going to have any effect. It should smoothly basically move across any surface on our floor. If I make this higher, then it's basically going to produce more friction.
Linear dampening. Okay. I guess it's like kind of how grippy the floor is, or shear. So let's put that back at just 100.
And it's not going to be able to move along the surface of my floor as easily. So if say I make this 2,
More like air resistance. Oh, okay. Makes sense.
and I play my game, you can see it's not really moving as much because it's basically applying more friction. I'll just change this back to 0.01. There's also this angular damping. This basically affects how much the mesh will rotate. So if you noticed earlier, when I moved this cube, it was rotating quite a lot. If say I made this like 2, the cube is not really going to rotate as much as compared if I were to just leave this at a value of 0.
It'd rotate quite a lot though.
So if I make 0,
you know what? I'm gonna put that at 1,000. See where that gets me.
It should rotate a bit more.
It's kind of interesting. It's probably good for like picking up items or like trying to place an item in a specific spot. I would imagine you'd probably play around with that setting when when you want to make some type of system where you pick up or place items or rotate them. No, probably not rotating. You would definitely just do that with the transform. But you don't want it to move around, I guess. You could just disable physics when you pick something up. I don't know. Actually, I'm not quite sure what a good use of this anti-rotation would be.
I'm not sure I really did it that much, so let me just make this like a high value to show you. If this was like 10, then you can see it's not really rotating at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You could change it during runtime. It's good for forcing physics to chill out. It makes sense. I'd imagine physics isn't always going to behave exactly how you want. I've seen my fair share of physics glitches in different games. We could probably put a damper on that. Nice.
Whilst our object is simulating physics, we can also basically make it so it's not affected by gravity. So if I just uncheck this, I'll also just click this arrow will also reset things back to their default state. I can make it so This cube is no longer affected by gravity. So in Unreal Engine, gravity is automatically calculated for us. So if I jump, so if my character jumps, they'll basically come back down. But I've made it so my cube is not affected by gravity, but I can still interact with it and it will still kind of float. So
that's so cool. What? I don't know why I found that so neat. Like anti-gravity cube. Is that under advanced? I think I might have to run that back. I missed where he toyed around with that. Didn't really lock in until he started pushing the 0G cube around. Oh, it's just enable gravity. I must be blind. I don't think I saw that. Yeah, enable gravity. It's right there. I'm blind. I didn't have the right cube selected. Actually, you know what? I'll leave this one affected by gravity. Let's turn that angular dampening back down, but I'll make this one the 0G cube. Oh, duh. Wait, that's not the right one. Yeah, that one's. And I said one thing and then did another. Silly me. It's like, yeah, this one will be 0G. Immediately goes and presses enable gravity. Oh, that's so neat. What the heck? That's so cool. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by that. Oh, I bet maybe turning on the angular dampening would prevent it from just forever spinning. It probably would stop spinning at some point, maybe. Or maybe not. You just spin slower. Yeah, zero G's neat. I've only played a couple games before that like have 0G elements in them. I'm always fascinated by it.
Okay, whilst our object is simulating physics, we can also basically make it so it's not affected by gravity. So if I just uncheck this, I'll also just click this arrow will also reset things back to their default state. I can make it so this cube is no longer affected by gravity. So in Unreal Engine, gravity is automatically calculated for us. So if I jump, so if
Oh,
my character jumps, they'll basically come back.
it would stop since the dampening is always resisting velocity. Okay. Actually, let me I'm gonna try that out here. Let's put on, I don't know, 10, I guess. That might be too low. Oh, I didn't really I didn't really give it much of a spin. Hit the angle here. Yep. There we go. Oh, it just immediately stopped. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Probably gotta make it a little bit lower to have it spin a little bit and then stop. 10 is high, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. I had it up to like I think 1,000 before, so I was like, 10 can't be that bad. But they're probably more of like a logarithmic scale. You know, you're going to get diminishing returns the higher you make this. Three. Three is probably still very high. Let's just do one. Okay, yep. Spinning and it stopped. Oh, cool. Nice.
Back down. But I've made it so my cube is not affected by gravity, but I can still interact with it and it will still kind of float. So that's cool.
Indeed, it is.
And then
Very
the
cool.
final setting I'll show you that we can play around with
0G is tight.
is the constraints. So I'm just going to make it so this cube can be affected by gravity. But what I can do is I can just go to constraints and I can just click lock position in Z, and this will make it so this static mesh can't move anywhere in the Z axis. So if I move this a bit lower, if I play my game, I can bump it into this, but this cube is not going to be able to move in the Z axis.
Oh.
We can also constrain its rotation to make it so it can't rotate. So those are how static meshes work in Unreal Engine, and those are the most common settings that you'll probably play around and mess around with when using static meshes.
There's probably a way to set up like a little area or box where anything inside of it just has its gravity turned off. So you can make like little different zones. I would imagine that can't be too difficult to set up, but there's probably a lot of different things you can do with that 0G. That was what's that again? Oh, constraints right here. Oh, and then you can also just lock rotation. Okay. Yeah, that's that's definitely probably a much better or a preferred method of literally locking rotation. It's right there. It's what it says it does. kind of curious. I kind of want to turn off one of the horizontal axes too. Oh yeah, it did. It just kind of got stuck. It won't move to the side. Okay. Neat.
Also, just one note. When I made it so this cube can simulate physics, you'll notice that the mobility of the static mesh basically changed to movable. In order for a static mesh to basically move, it needs to be in this movable tab, otherwise I won't be able to move it. If I stop simulating physics and then I just change this back to static, if say I were to make this simulate physics, you'll see I'll basically change this to movable, because in order for a mesh to be able to move an Unreal Engine, it needs to be set to movable. We'll cover stationary when we go into lighting. We don't really need this for static meshes. Static meshes will either be static, so they can't move, or movable, meaning we can move them.
All right.
Hello. To get started, we're first going to want to install Unreal Engine.
What? It just started the course over? Wait, I finished this though. Oh, I can just check those off? Okay. Why is it going to installing Unreal Engine? When I hit next. Something is going on with this page here. It doesn't like to open. I hit watch course. Maybe if I go back to just courses and click here, try it that way. No, it still just doesn't want to play nice. Okay.
Hello. In this video, we're going to go over geometry brushes. Geometry brushes can be used to quickly prototype a level. To access them, if we just go here where it says quickly add things to the project, we can access all of the geometry brushes here, or we can also go over to the place actors panel, which I'm going to click.
Oh, there we go.
Just go over to geometry brush. So geometry brushes are made up of simple shapes like a box, cone, sphere, and so on, and we're going to go through each of them. So like I mentioned, geometry brushes are best used for prototyping a level.
The new free assets just dropped. Oh, like on Fab, or like stuff that comes in these projects. Oh, on Fab. Oh, okay. Let's see what those are. Limited time free. I probably have to be under Unreal, I would think. Maybe not. Abandoned hospital, conference meeting room, and weapon melee effects. Nice. Can imagine people are working on a little horror game already. This looks nice. Yes, I will buy this free thing. Um, Add that. Oh, there's like different license levels. Okay, you can either one are the same price right now. Free. I mean, I guess it's not like I'll ever use anything on that level of professional, but I mean, if both license types are free, might as well just get the more expensive one. All right. Check out. Order placed for free. Cool. Cool.
Normally you block out the level with geometry brushes, and then once you've got the block out of your level designed, later on you'd replace the geometry brushes with static meshes. So let's go over the first one, the box brush. So this will basically just create a simple box, and I can adjust it in the X, Y, and Z. With geometry brushes, we can also make them hollow, so I can make it have an inside. So if I just click hollow, if I go inside here, we can see this will now have an inside. Now, with geometry
Hollow right here. Okay. That's neat.
brushes, they can also be additive or subtractive. So if it's additive, then it's going to add a mesh. Whereas if it's subtractive, then it's going to remove.
I've been collecting the free assets for almost 10 years now, I think. They can be a great learning resource once you're a bit more familiar with the engine. Yeah, I there's a lot of stuff on Fab, it looks like. There's a few things that I have in my library that like, because I've like toyed with the idea of like learning Unreal Engine before in the past. I never really got that far into learning. So I've had my Epic account for quite a while. So I do have a lot of old assets that I don't even think work with this version of the engine anymore. But I'm sure accumulating them each month is going to really build up your library of useful plugins and assets and such. And it's probably a huge time saver, especially like if you see an asset that you like, you can just like make a little project or experience or something using like just those assets. So we don't have to bother with, making original stuff. I mean, you don't really need to make original assets nowadays. I feel like most everyone just kind of uses a majority of assets made by other people.
Remove a mesh. So let's say I wanted to create a door inside of this cube. I could just drag in another box. And if I scroll down, right now we can see the brush type is set to additive. If I make this subtractive, and then I basically put this in here, you can see it's going to make a gap with the shape of my mesh. So let's say I wanted this to be taller. And just like that, I've quickly made this little structure with a door. Let's
That's
say
pretty neat.
Be a hole on top. I could just press Alt on my keyboard with my brush selected to quickly duplicate it. And then maybe I can make a hole here. And as you can see, we could easily use this to quickly block out and prototype our level. Let me just drag in the cone brush. With this one, we can just adjust this in the Z.
Oh, that's cool.
And we can also increase the radius of this. So if I just go to outer radius, this will increase the radius of it. And we can change how smooth this will be. So right
Unless you have a studio with a AA budget or more, making everything yourself is unrealistic anymore. Yeah, that that makes sense. Like it's just so much time, that you have to spend on doing all that. So like you might as well just buy or save free stuff of what you need. Yeah, it's very it's really very time consuming having to make all of your assets. And I'm sure maybe at some point people were probably I mean even nowadays I'm sure people still take pride in like making their own assets, but I would imagine when like marketplaces like that were newer, there's people that are just, I only use my own assets that I make. I would never buy assets. I mean, there's always people that feel that way about really anything that is not done yourself. Sure, there's people that say, I would never use a pre-made game engine ever. Only make my own engine. It's like a weird source of pride, almost like narcissistic pride. But yeah, some people will definitely look down on others, no matter what. Like if you're just using tools made by other people and not just doing things yourself.
Right now it has 8 sides. The more sides it has, the smoother it's going to be. And we
Oh,
can also change the shape of the brush from within the details panel here. So if I just go to brush shape, I can just change this back to a cube if I wanted to. Let's
nice.
also go over the cylinder. It's very similar to the cone. We can adjust it in the Z. We can adjust the outer radius, and we can adjust how many sides it will have. The more sides it will have, the smoother it will be. There is the sphere. We can increase the size of this, and we can increase its tessellation. The higher the tessellation, the smoother it's going to be. And then we have the staircases. These all kind of work in similar ways. So I have the curved staircase. This will basically create a curved staircase around the pivot point. So we can see it's started around here.
I wonder what a subtractive sphere looks like on like the building. Subtractive. Oh yeah, and just really carves that out. This tool you're using now is the old school BSP system. It dates back to the Unreal 1 days. Epic actually advised against using it in favor of the new modeling tools. Not sure why it's even still in the engine. Oh, really? Okay. Hmm. Yeah, that's weird then. Weird that they have different versions that they still keep around. I guess for like the sake of people that prefer doing it this way, but yeah, it's weird that he added this to your tutorial if it's really not even recommended anymore. Even weirder that it's in the engine, like you said. I thought I saw something like, oh yeah, there's a modeling mode. Okay, a new box. Oh, oh, that's cool. Doesn't stretch it; it just like actually expands it. It's got a load of issues related to it, poor optimization, physics issues, etc. Okay, yeah, good to know. I mean, it's nice to know that like it's there and how to use it, I guess. But yeah, if this is the preferred way, then would definitely just default to using these modeling tools instead. Volumes. Yeah, there's a lot more advanced info. I'm sure he'll probably cover this at some point. I would hope. Guess the bad part of having a subtractive um, item or a subtractive box brush that it's hard to see because it's literally invisible. There it is. I'm just going to delete that. Just hit delete. Cannot delete objects while this tool is active. Oh, while the modeling tool is active. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Create box, accept, cancel. Okay. I'll just accept that for now. Close these out.
We can increase the inner radius, so this will basically
Good heads up, though. Thanks for letting me know.
From its radius here.
I would not have known that.
There'll be more offset. I can increase the step height or decrease it. Same with the step width. The angle of the curve, so I can adjust it all the way up to 360 degrees.
Yeah, there's even stairs in here, and it seems like everything that was in that previous menu is also here. Oh, this is a whole real-time mode is required for modeling tools to work correctly. Please enable real-time mode in the viewport options with the Control R hotkey. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not gonna. I think it's just gonna give me that warning if I don't have the viewport selected. I think. Maybe not. Okay. Yeah, there's a whole list of different options here. Voxel, textures. You can really just like make maps this way. Especially if you can like apply textures and such. Like wouldn't really need to use something like Blender to make basic environments or basic objects if you can actually texture them in here too. Pretty neat. Oh, this is a whole panel here. Oh, because I'm in modeling mode. That's why. Duh.
The number of steps, so I can make that a lot of steps or none. If we want, we can counterclockwise this. Those are the main settings of the curved staircase. We also have a linear staircase, which is basically the same, although it's just going to be straight. And then we have the spiral staircase, so this will kind of like go up into the air. So I can just increase the number of steps and it'll basically create a spiral. We can also kind of adjust some of the settings in the spiral. So we can basically have a slope ceiling, and I think that just adjusts the bottom. We can have a slope floor.
Did want to check out the stair real quick. Number of steps, yeah. Oh. Step width. Okay, yeah, it definitely. Oh, it does start to stretch the texture at a certain point. Okay. But I mean, if you're really worried about the texture, I'd imagine you would apply a texture afterwards. Although it would, I guess it would still be stretched then, regardless if you're applying a texture afterwards. It's like I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they do that in Unreal here. That's neat though. Is there I wonder if there's that spiral staircase he was looking at. Seems like staircase might just be. Oh no, stairs type. Okay, linear, floating, curved. Okay, yeah, look at that. Oh, it's all here. Yeah, it seems like all the options that were available in those box brushes are here in some way in the modeling section. Nice. Does he cover that at some point? No, it doesn't even look like he covers modeling. That might be more. I'm sure there's probably more advanced options with the modeling functionality as it is here in Unreal that might not be that beginner friendly. That could also be why it's not covered here. That's neat though. Accept. Oh, is it no, it's not subtractive because that's the box brushes. That's right. It look like that. Hmm. There's got to be a way to edit it in the same way it was before, but afterwards. Let's see here. I'm not sure why I'm only just seeing the wireframe on this. Start over. It's still just giving me wireframe. Is going to do that with the box. It didn't do that with the box last time. Also did that with the box. I'm not sure what I did differently there. We have to select a material. I don't think I selected a material before. That's definitely just still a wireframe. Hmm. Let's see. If I turn off modeling mode, nope. Let's see. Okay, so this one, oh, it says blocking volume. Okay. This is a static mesh actor, and this is a blocking volume. So if I must have changed that by accident. No, it's still, oh, output type volume. That's why. There we go. Mystery solved. Makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So now the stairs are now all smooth. So as you can see, we could easily use the geometry brushes to quickly prototype levels. And then once you're happy with your prototype, you normally just either design some static meshes and replace the blockouts. Because when you use geometry brushes, this actually increases the memory usage in Unreal Engine for each geometry brush that you basically add. Whereas if, say, you added a static mesh,
I see.
and then let's say I created another one, meshes are only stored in the memory once, no matter how many instances of this object exist.
I think he just basically explained the issue that it has, like you said, right? Because Bacon, you were saying how it causes poor optimization. That could be one of the reasons. Is it's increasing the memory usage, and I noticed these it just changes it to it like automatically converts it to a static mesh, or I guess whatever type you have selected. So it's not just leaving a bunch of brushes everywhere. that are not yet replaced with static meshes.
Whereas each brush that I add into my level increases memory usage, but it's much quicker to prototype and design with a geometry brush. Then once you're done and happy with how your level blockout is, you can replace that with meshes. Okay, so that's it for this video. You now know about all of the different geometry brushes in Unreal Engine and how they work.
Okay, if I hit next, is it going to try to take me back to the first lesson again? Let's see. No, it actually went to the right lesson this time. Cool.
Hello, in this video, we're going to go over materials. In Unreal Engine, materials are assets which can be applied to mesh or brush actors to define how they look. So if I drag in, let's say this box, then I go over to my content drawer and I go over to materials. Let me just go over to this gold material. I can just drag and place this onto my brush actor, and this will make the surface of this brush.
See materials, but that's under mannequins. Get kind of curious now, actually. Let's put a Manny material on this. I'm not sure what I expected that to look like, but oh, it's like it's like laid out. Okay. I thought it was just gonna like wrap it and just like repeating Manny. Funny that the head is like the one appearing on each side. That's interesting. All right, let's put an actual material on there. Yep.
Have a gold material.
Oh wait,
so
gold material.
To...
Oh, did I not? I don't think I checked starter content. So it doesn't, that's why he's got like the couches and this gold material here. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't think. Well, we are in materials. You might open that up to show
how my
different aspects of it.
Or mesh actors should look. Now you'll notice, it only applied the material to one surface of my brush. If I wanted to basically make this material apply to all of the sides of my brush, what I can do is I can select this, scroll down, and I want to go to geometry, select, and I want to just go here where it says select all adjacent surfaces. Then if I go back to my content drawer, I can just drag, and if I select, and if I go back to my content drawer, I can just drag and place this material, and it will be applied to all of the different surfaces on my cube. Another way of doing this is to just select the mesh, and if I press Shift J, that will automatically do it for me. So let's say I want to change this to metal. Now my brush actor has a metal surface on it. Also, if say I select a material, so let me just select this cobblestone.
Oh, I can add it anytime.
And drag in my box brush. It will have that material.
I guess just under import maybe, or even from Fab. Maybe not Fab. Add feature or content pack. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Starter content. Okay. Perfect. Appreciate you, man. Look at that. Oh, that's nice. Some deep normals there. Nice. I'm just dragging a bunch of random materials. All right.
Material applied to it when I drag it in. So we can change materials by dragging them on and applying them to the surface of an actor. Or let's say I just select this brush and I press Shift J, so I select all its sides.
Oh, I was curious about the stretched texture on the stairs. See if that does stretch it or not. Stairs. Let's do linear. That down. Just make that wide. Yeah, so it's like it's stretching that texture, but I wonder if it stretches like the actual material texture here. In that case. Oh, it does. Yeah. Well, It's so big on the side too. Yeah, I'm sure there's a way to fix that. It was probably in the setting from before. Let's go stairs. I just drag. Yep, I can drag that there. World space UV scale. Oh, it's still. Oh, is it? Oh no, I don't think it is stretching it anymore. Okay. I think that was the solution. Sweet. Nice. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Sure, why not? We'll keep the big stairs.
Let me scroll up and I just want to go to surface materials, and I could also change the material here. So if I just change it to gold, it will now be gold. I'm just going to go over to my content drawer and go over to my starter content, then props. We can also apply materials to static meshes. So if say I drag in my stairs, this is made up of some material slots, which I can basically change. And unlike geometry brushes, static meshes can be made up of multiple material slots. So right now, this static mesh has two material slots, element 0 and element 1. What defines whether a static mesh has multiple material slots depends on how the model was made. So if say you made a 3D model in Blender, over in Blender you can configure how many different material slots it should have. That's normally done with external software. Then when you import that model into Unreal Engine, you can define the materials that it should have in its slots. So this has two slots, element 0 and element 1. Maybe I'll change element 1 so it's this chrome ball. Actually, I don't like that, so I'm just going to change it so it's this cobblestone. And I can make it so it has a different material.
Doing grass stairs.
Now, if say I stretch and I expand my mesh, that's also going to stretch and expand the material. We can't do anything about that with static meshes. It's just going to stretch the material. Although with geometry brushes, we can adjust the material. So if you see this little arrow, we can just pan the texture. So if I just click 1/16, it's going to pan the texture in that direction. If say I click this and then I click this again, it's going to pan it in the other direction. And we can also pan the texture up and down. We can also rotate the texture. So it's kind of hard to see with this. So let me just select this. I can rotate the texture 45 degrees or 90 degrees. We can also adjust the scale of textures with geometry brushes. So let's say I expand this and it has stretched my texture. If I want it to maintain its scale, what I can do is I can just deselect it. Then if I select it again, right now I can see the scale is 1.8 and 1.8 across its U and V tiling. That basically represents how the texture is stretched across its two axes. If I make this 1 and 1, then I click apply, then it will reset the scale for me. but we can't do that with static meshes. Okay, so those are how materials work in Unreal Engine.
Like it's clearly just like the basics of materials, but it's kind of funny that he just summarized it at the end with like, yep, that's how materials work. Nothing else you need to know. Which I know this is a beginner course, but just the way he said it was it sounded definitive. It did not check off introduction to materials. Weird. Okay.
Hello. To get started, we're first going to want to install Unreal Engine. To do that,
Oh, I did it again. You were doing so good there for a second, video player.
hello. In this video, we're going to go over lights. There are 5 different types of light actors in Unreal Engine. To access them, we can just go over here where it says quickly add things to the project and go over to lights. Or I've just gone over to my place actors panel and gone over to the lights tab.
Oh, let's get out of modeling
the first
mode.
type of light is a directional light. Let me just drag this into my level. A directional.
Am I on the right? Listen. Yeah, lights. I guess I could turn off. The skylight doesn't really do anything. Directional? Oh, yep. This course seems a bit scattered, but I guess it does help with just learning to navigate the engine in general. Yeah. It feels maybe a little bit more scattered than the previous version of it as well. But yeah, there's definitely some points where, like, you know, right here, like he just has a whole new level that he's in that had no mention before as well. And the last time, I remember, especially when we were getting more into the blueprints, there would be times where he would have me create like a certain blueprint in one video, and in the next video there were like other blueprints there that he didn't mention, and it was a little bit confusing because I didn't know if I was missing something or if it was just not relevant. I assume he probably made a different video that he decided to take out, or he didn't feel was important or redundant in some way. Okay. Lights.
Simulates light that's being emitted from a source that's infinitely far away. So
Oh wait, that was, which one was that? Oh man, this video player really starts to lag after a little bit.
this into my level.
It's a directional light. Okay.
A directional light simulates light that's being emitted from a source that's infinitely far away. So think of the light emitted from
There it goes.
We can rotate this, and depending on the rotation of our directional light will kind of affect how the light hits our world. It has a
that's the same.
And so do the other light sources. We can change the intensity of the light, so how bright it's going to be. We can change the light color. We can control the source angle. This basically controls how soft shadows are. A larger angle will basically make the shadows appear more soft. We also have the source soft angle, This basically adds like an
Oh,
extra blurring
like a
effect
whole
to the
automatic
shadows generated by the
sunset
natural light. We
going on
have
here.
this use temperature. This will basically try and simulate how the light should look in real life. And we can adjust it using this setting. We have this effects world. We can make it so the light doesn't affect the world. And we have cast shadows. So if we want, you can make it so the light doesn't cast shadows. This will make it more efficient, although lighting normally generates shadows. But if say you wanted to save performance, you could remove that. We have the indirect lighting intensity, so light will basically hit a surface and then bounce off it. This will basically control how intense that is. Then we have the volumetric scattering intensity. So we can also add fog. We're going to cover that in the next video. And the volumetric scattering intensity will basically affect how much the light will pass through things like the fog. So that's how the directional light works. I'm just going to delete this. We also have the point light. This emits light in all directions. So as you can see, the light is coming from the center, and then it also has the same settings. We'd use this light for something like a light that you have in a light bulb or a fire. I'll just delete this. We then have the spotlight. This is meant to represent light that emits from cone-shaped objects like a flashlight or a stage spotlight. I'll just delete this. We have the direct light. This is meant to represent light that comes from rectangular objects like a TV or a phone. We then have the skylight. This basically represents indirect light scattered from the sky. I can't really show it in this level. If I were to go over to a example level, it has a skylight, and if I just hide it, we can see it just kind of makes a small difference.
Just like a planar light.
It's just representing the indirect light scattered from atmospheres. So it just gives the lighting in the level kind of a soft glow. Now,
wait, I missed that last bit. Oh, just the skylight.
And if I just hide it, we can see it just kind of makes a small difference. It's just representing the indirect light scattered from atmospheres. So it just gives the lighting in the level kind of a soft glow. Now, in Unreal Engine, lighting can have 3 modes. The first mode is static. Static lights can't be changed in the game, so if I were to play this game, this is the way lighting is going to be in my level, and it can't be updated or changed at all. We then have stationary. With stationary lighting, we can do things like dynamically change things like the light color. So maybe in the game you want to make it so the light will change to a red color or a different color. You can do that when a light is in stationary. You can also adjust the intensity of the light dynamically in-game if it's set to stationary, and then movable lights, you can move the lights as well as change their color and intensity. So those are the 3 main mobility settings for lights in Unreal Engine.
Set it to party mode. Just have it just rotate around the edge. Oh, he blew through that. Yeah, he really did. This is the beginner course. I guess that's like just the basics of the lights. But yeah, there's a lot of other settings on this details panel that were not covered. But I would imagine if there were other courses he had that are more advanced, they might cover that more advanced stuff in that course. I feel like just in general, like getting through this a lot faster than, I know that a lot of the info he had already talked about previously in the old course, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm going through this a lot faster. In late UE4, we got this atmosphere simulation. It used to be a large texture on a giant sphere around the whole level. Oh. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so it's different than it was prior, because you're saying, prior it was just the giant sphere texture. Yeah, I assume that atmospheric simulation is what was causing that automatic sunset as I moved the directional light. I don't imagine that's a property of the light itself. It's probably the atmosphere doing that. There it is. Oh no, that's just a directional light. Oh, right there. All the clouds and sunlight is simulated now. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. You can hold Control L and move the mouse around to change the sun direction. Oh, okay. Control L. You gotta reach holding it the other way. And dogs are going crazy right now. Someone must be walking outside. They're not fans of people walking on the street. Oh, okay. I see. Hmm. Hmm. Not quite sure how to process this visualization here. See, it's doing something, but as far as what it's doing when I mouse around like that, I don't really understand, to be honest. Supposed to move that way. Not sure how it got stuck. Yeah, not quite sure. Um, we don't need that spotlight anymore. That gotta hold it. That's right. Yeah, I see it like it's trying to do something, but it does seem to just keep snapping back to the center. Must be like a setting or something enabled by default that makes it just keep snapping back. Does it work on a blank level? Let's try it. Let me minimize these real quick. Make a new level here. I think they were just in the first person. So add level test. Save that. I'll add, oh, I can do that from here. Directional light. Soon there must be, oh yeah, look at that. It's working. Okay. I don't see anything yet because the only thing I have is the directional light in here, but the visualization UI here, that makes more sense. I see how that's supposed to work now. Yeah, that's weird. It must be like the default. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the default sun or directional light in that on that map is set to have some kind of lock on it. So I bet actually if I went back to first person or basic, I bet if I were to let's turn that off there, let's put a new one in. Oh yeah, it works. There must be like some type of setting that has it locked by default. That's cool, actually. Okay, nice. And I don't even have to hold. I don't even have to hold both Control and L. When I press it, I can press Control L to bring it up, but then just hold Control. That's nice. I don't have to hold two buttons at once. Although I don't think the visualization is going to stay up. Yeah, the visualization only stays up if I'm holding both Control and L. But as long as I'm still holding Control, it's letting me just move this around still, even without the visualizer there. You can kind of, I mean, if you look at this, you can kind of see visualization on the light itself there too. Not as comprehensive though as the visualizer. Okay. Good looking out. Appreciate it. With that setting, imagine it might be under like transform. Is it? Okay, interesting. So the one I dragged in by default is set to stationary, but the default one is set to movable. So I wonder if let's turn that other one off. Wonder if I change it to stationary, if it'll then let me. Oh, now I'm not even getting the visualizer coming up anymore. Oh, I am, but it's not even affecting it. Yeah, when I actually select it and do Control L, I get nothing here. Back to movable. Is that going to work? Yeah, this default directional light is having some issues. I think it's getting tired. It's not feeling so well, Mr. Stark. But the other one works fine. Where it did. Am I in like a different mode? Did I select something wrong? Oh, selection mode. I'm doing exactly what I was doing before. That's weird. I don't know why it's now not. Oh, there we go. That's weird. Okay. Guess I just had to click on it better. Well, maybe it's because I was in the rotate option. Oh, maybe I need to be in the rotate option. Now let's try. Oh, it's unmovable. Okay. Back to static or stationary, I mean. Oh, that one still doesn't want to follow the visualizer. So curious what the difference is here. I don't think temperature is going to be what's changing that. Technically, you should never have more than one directional light in a level. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Unless you're on Tatooine, you probably don't want two suns. That'd be kind of an interesting challenge to have to solve. Doing like a dual binary star situation. Would probably have to be custom. I'm just trying to figure out what the difference in settings is. You distance field shadows is not checked on the default one. Screw it. I'll just give it a shot. Nope, I didn't change nothing either. Atmosphere, sunlight. There are also more advanced options here. Yeah, really not sure why this one's movable. And this one is not.
Hello! In this video, let's go over how to add a sky atmosphere. If I just drag in a directional light, and then I go here where it says quickly add things to the project.
Oh, you figured it out? Yeah, it's got to be something in this details panel here. When you drag in a new directional light, it becomes the sun. When you delete it, it doesn't know how to default to the old one, which is why it got stuck until you reloaded the level. Got it. Okay. I see. Yeah, I did drag in a directional light from when he was originally going over it. That makes sense. Okay. I bet if I were to turn that on, just like go back into this one, yeah, save, and basic. Yep, look at that. You're a genius. Thanks for solving that curiosity.
I can go over to Visual Effects and select Sky Atmosphere, and it's going to use my direction.
Let's go back into the test since we got to drag in atmospheres and such. Where'd you drag that in from, buddy? Oh, from here. Okay. I thought he did it from the actors panel. No, you're a big help. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm the one that's derailing more than anything. I like to go on these little tangents of curiosity, especially if they mention something, and I just, well, how does that work? I would like to know more about that. I mean, it's not like anyone was really watching before, but in the previous streams, I was constantly like pulling up Google and like Googling random things in the middle of the lessons, which is useful, but yeah, it definitely derails quite a bit when I do that. But that's I appreciate any of these like little tidbits of knowledge that you offer. It's definitely going to be helpful in the long run. Yeah, don't be afraid to go on a little tangent with me if I'm already going that way.
Project, I can go over to Visual Effects and select Sky Atmosphere, and it's going to use my directional light to be the sun in the sky atmosphere. If I just select the directional light and I scroll down, and I would just want to go over to Atmosphere and Cloud, here we can see by default atmosphere sunlight is turned on, so it's going to use the directional light as the sun in my sky atmosphere. And if I rotate the directional light, it will rotate where the sun is in my sky atmosphere. And if I scroll all the way up and I increase the source angle, then it's going to increase the size of my sun. If we just deselect everything and then select our viewport, we can press Ctrl L to adjust the position of where the sun is going to be in our viewport. If I
he did mention
the sky atmosphere, let's go over some of the settings. So we have this ground radius. This will affect the curvature of the sky atmosphere. So if I decrease this, we can see the curvature decreases.
Good to know because that's how I learned too. Yeah, that's good. I definitely sometimes it's like to my own detriment where I'll be like learning one thing and I'm going off on like 4 different tangents because the resource I found online will like mention something else. I'm like, oh, how does that work? Oh, how did that work? I mean, it's a good way to learn. It's just definitely if you're thinking like, oh, I'm gonna just do this lesson in this amount of time, then I mean, I don't know who would want to learn like that. That's not very uh, it's efficient, but it's probably not very helpful to the actual knowledge. So I do think it's good to go on little tangents when you can, as long as it's answering something that you're genuinely curious about learning.
And then increases. We have this ground albedo. This is the tint the atmosphere will have when the sunlight bounces on it. Then if I just scroll down, we have this Rayleigh scattering. We can use this to kind of control the color of our sky atmosphere.
Oh.
And then I'm just going to click this arrow to reset it back to its original settings. You'll notice the bottom half of my level is kind of black and grayed out. To fix that, we can just go over here where it says quickly add thing to the project, go over to visual effects and just
an
exponential height fog, and that will fix that for us. And if you want to just reduce the intensity of this fog, we can just decrease it here. Just don't make it 0, otherwise.
Oh shoot, I think he brought something else in. Exponential height fog. Okay. Over here.
An exponential height fog, and that will fix that for us. And if you want to just reduce the intensity of this fog, we can just decrease it here. Just don't make it 0, otherwise it'll be black again. And then with our sky atmosphere, we can add some clouds to it. So if I just go here, go over to visual effects, I can go over here and add a volumetric cloud.
Let's bring that back to some kind of angle. He said volumetric clouds. Okay.
And this will add clouds to my sky sphere. And we can kind of adjust the layer at which the cloud should start. So I can move this up or down, and we can control how tall our cloud should be or thin. We can also just go over here to VFX if you want to add the sky atmosphere, volumetric fog, and exponential height fog. So that's how to set up a sky atmosphere in Unreal Engine.
Cool. Next.
Hello, in this video we're going to go over the player start. This is the actor which basically decides where in the world our player will start. This blue arrow represents the rotation of where the player character will start. So if say I just rotate this, I'm going to start the game facing this direction. With the player start, you want to make sure it's not overlapping anything. So if say I place this here, then I'm going to get this bad size warning on my player start, which basically means my player is going to start overlapping this, so the player may not start correctly. So when you position the player start, make sure it just has a game icon. That means you've placed it correctly. So this will be where the player starts in the game. Although sometimes when you're making a game and you're testing it, you may want to, for example, start the game here. To do that, if it's just a one-off occasion, what we can do is just right-click and click play from here, and we'll start the game from where we were in the viewport.
Sweet.
Maybe you constantly need to just start in a different location wherever your viewport camera is. To do that, we can just go over here, click these 3 arrow icons, and instead of starting at the player start, we can select current camera location. And now if I play my game, I'm just going to start the game.
Oh, I was
where the
probably
camera
underground.
is located. And then
Oh,
once
I
I'm
have to hit
done,
play.
to change it back, I can just go here and change it to the default player start. And now start where the player start is. Okay, that's all for this video.
Very brief. Okay. I mean, I guess that's really all you need to know about a player start. Oh man, did it go back to installing Unreal Engine again? Oh man, I don't know what's going on. There was not really any issues, actually. I was going to say there's not this level of issues in the last version, but I don't think I encountered any issues going through the course previously, like just with the website itself, aside from video player, I think lagging up a little bit sometimes, but definitely didn't have this issue where it wasn't like saving progress or resetting back to the beginning like that. I will just check it off.
Hello. In this video, I'm going to go over components. Components are objects or functionalities that can be attached to actors. Some components, like static meshes or lights, can also exist as standalone actors, while other components can't. So if I just go over to my content drawer and I open up my first person character, it's made up of some mesh components and a camera component, but it also has this character movement component. This can't exist as a standalone actor. Whereas, let's say I just go over to my content drawer and I go over to level prototyping and I drag in my cube. This is a component that I can actually see in my world, although the movement component isn't something I can just drag in and see. We can make it so actors have more components. To do that, we can just go over here where it says add. And if I want, I can make it so the static mesh has another cube, which will act as another component. And if I just select it, then I can
see.
Let's say, move this here. The root component, so if I just select this, will determine the actor's transform. So if say I move this, it's going to move everything. This is the main root component. And there are many different types of components. So if say I wanted my cube to move, I could just go over here, go add, and if I look for rotating movement, this will add a rotating movement component, and I can basically decide the rotation rate. So this is going to have a rotation rate of 180 in the z-axis. In order for this to work, I just need to select my cube and make sure that its mobility is set to movable so that it can move. And the z-axis.
Wait.
In order for this to work, I just need to go over here, go add, and if I look for rotating movement, this will add a rotating movement component, and I can basically decide the rotation rate. So this is going to have a rotation rate of 180 in the z-axis. In order for this to work, I just need to select my cube and make sure that its mobility is set to movable so that it can move. And if I just play, my cube is going to move at a rate of 180 degrees in the z-axis. And if so I wanted this to have some light, I can just go over here, go add, and look for, let's say, a light.
It's still rotating.
I'll add a point light, which is red.
Oh, and you can have like the point light rotate or do whatever.
We'll have all these different components. So components allow for flexible actor customization and make it so we can enable them so they have different functionality. So that in a nutshell is how components work.
Spotlight. Funnier. Angle it down a little bit too. Yep, spotlight is rotating. Cool. Volumes. Okay. I will do it later.
Hello. In this video, we're going to go over volumes. Volumes are invisible 3D areas in Unreal Engine that serve specific purposes. So to access the volumes, we can just go over here where it says quickly add things to the project, and this will give us a list of all of the different volumes that we have. We can also just go over to the Place Actors panel and go over to the Volumes tab here. The most common type of volume is the trigger volume, and we're probably going to use this later on in the course. And what we can do with this is we can make it so if, say, the player character enters this volume, we can code it so something else will happen. So maybe we can make it so a dragon will appear in our game or something. This is another volume.
Oh, that's
volume. So this is an invisible area. And let's say I expand this. If I play my game and I go up to this volume, because there's a blocking volume, my player character is not going to be able to basically move past this. So that in a nutshell are volumes. And whilst we're here, I want to show you the post-process volume. Let me just drag it in. The way this will work is we can kind of change how our level will look using this. If I just go to the search, I'm going to look for infinite. And I'm just going to have this box checked. This will basically mean this volume will affect everything in my level. If I didn't check this box, then this volume would only affect everything inside of this box. But I can kind of use this to adjust how my level will look. So if I just look for brightness, and I just click min EV and the max EV, I can make it so the game is not bright at all, or very bright. So we can use the post-process volume to kind of adjust how the level will look. I have like imported asset pack, and sometimes they have nice post-process volumes, so people can make like a post-process volume to make everything in the game look kind of cartoony or something. Although I think the most common volume is the trigger volume, which is what we can use to basically trigger certain events in our game.
All right, easy peasy. Well, I think that will conclude tonight's stream. It's a good way to leave it off here. And the next time we'll get back into the blueprints, because I was in the blueprints section before on the old lesson. It'll be nice to kind of start that over and then just get back into the pace of it. I got through that a lot faster than I thought I would. And there was a lot more useful information. I'd say as far as like total amount of comprehensive info, I think there was more this time around in these beginning sections than there was before. It is a little bit more scattered, I'd say. But there's still more information that I found useful, I think, than the last time. It's nice. Sweet. Well, appreciate you hanging out again, Bacon Guy, and anyone else that popped in at some point. I think maybe one or two came in and left a couple times. So I do appreciate anyone that came to hang out and watch, and anyone from the future as well that ends up watching this back too. Thank you. And yeah, have a good night. I will catch you next week, same time, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then maybe any random in between streams. I didn't do any this week or this previous week, but sometimes I randomly get time and I can just do a side game stream or something. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Take care, man.